tempted to ask those surface level questions because why not give the people what they want, right? Like,
yeah.
What do you eat for breakfast? When do you wake up? Because like, it seems like it's this weird extension of trying to figure out how you are as a person or who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Right? But then the added thing of like, who are you as a writer? Who are you as a novelist or as a poet?
Yeah. But for me, it's comforting to talk to writers and hear that even though we all have this idea that there are certain things we should do, I think there's a sort of a collective set of assumptions about how we should be working. You know, we should probably write every day. We should probably write in like comforting spaces, and like we should nourish ourselves somehow. Like, you know, there's sort of a general set of kind of like healthy rules for writing. But the fact is, everybody, like every possible iteration exists, and so you just have to find the one that makes sense for you. You know, that like makes you feel most productive and maybe most calm, or you know, that keeps anxiety or anguish at bay, or that feeds off of that anguish, you know, if that's really productive for you. So I think that's the question. That's the only way to answer the question. And I think it's funny, I never like went asking people that really much as I came up as a writer. I always just sort of thought I knew what to do. Like I've always really trusted my own instincts. But it's really only as I've become an adult working writer and who's frequently in conversation with other adult working writers and aspiring writers now. Also now, there are now somehow younger people who are asking me things, which is like very... Like, no, I'm the young one. Like, I'm the kid. You know, I'm an only child, so I'm like always the kid. But it's only now as an adult that I really feel this sense of, oh no, am I doing it wrong? Have I been doing it wrong? You know, like there are like other people have these rules, you know, and I certainly have my own rules, but I don't, and I have to break them sometimes, and I have to make new ones sometimes because they aren't working, you know. But I didn't really get anxious about my process until I found out that there were all these other processes out there that were really sure of themselves, you know, or that were that got a lot of votes, you know, in our democracy from other people. You know, people really like to vote for writing every day, and they really like to vote for like revision as like, you know, always as soon as you finish a piece, revise. Like I think that's the thing that gets a lot of votes. I don't really believe in that. I believe in putting things aside for forever, and I tell everyone that. I'm like, write a thing, look at it like 6 months later. And people hate hearing that. They're like, but I want to publish it now. I'm like, well, then, you know, you can. It probably won't be as good. Maybe it will be because you're different from me. I don't know.
Well, that totally doesn't jive with our culture at the moment.
No, sure. Totally not.
But I might agree with you.
I'm all about time. Like, exponentially more time than you need to get something done. And, like, you have to fight for it. I mean, I have to fight against myself and everyone I love, you know, who wants to see me and who I want to see. I have to fight against that, and I have to fight against the kind of like scolding father capitalist who's like telling me to go out and earn more money and like live in a more secure way and like, you know, generally have a respectable job. You know?
I think you should be father capitalist for Halloween.
Totally. It might be mother capitalist. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to, you know, it's just a very stern, you know, respectable person.
Sure.
Who, you know, who wants me to, you know, clock in at 9 and clock out at 5. And yeah, I can't work like that. So, but you know, that's something that I think that writers have to come to terms with, that we work in a pretty much 9 to 5 or around the clock world, you know, a world of constant pressure to validate yourself, or, you know, to justify what you're doing with visible proof. And so that can be really, I think, super empowering for some people. Like, some writers really thrive in that environment and do their best work when they feel they're being pushed, or they can rush they can run that race forever. But I am not a marathoner. I don't run at all. I don't run at all.
You're on like a recumbent bicycle.
I like the bike at the gym, and I do yoga. Like, I do not run. So I think I feel a little defensive about that sometimes, I think, in our culture, but I know it works for me better. So I hope there's someone who will hear this who also wants permission to be that kind of person, and, you know, you can. It's too bad, though. Isn't it too bad that we need like writers to give us permission to be, you know, we need someone else who's doing what we want to do to give us permission to do it.
Well, I think that's why these like TED Talk people or whoever, these people who end up being figureheads or who have advice, like, that's why we turn to them. think it's not always for what they say or for what they uncover, but for the idea that like just by being visible, just by seeing them, we give ourselves permission to do the thing that we knew we wanted to do the entire time.
Right.
We just either couldn't figure out a way to do it, or thought it wasn't worth it, or you know, we didn't understand how meaningful it was to us in the face of father or mother or aunt or uncle capitalist. You know, that like we're all working against different forces, but like maybe this idea of seeing it to believe it is a thing that doesn't go away once you become a less young person. That you still need mentors, or just like even people younger than you to be like, fuck. like I see that too, but I also find it really inspiring. For me, I'm like, I kind of need a little kick in my ass, because I am a little bit of I don't do yoga, but like I'm being okay with that. It's a weird thing that in my personal experience I've learned to at once kind of try to be inspired by that. Like the idea of getting your work out into the world and being part of a community, but also like the really sort of hippie mystical shit of like, I'm just kind of in it for the work and the thing that it means to me, and like how do I put that together? So I don't know.
I think at the end of the day you have to be just in it for the work. I think there can be a really fruitful moment of like having a great big itch to publish that you just like need to scratch. I think that can be very, very helpful. When I was writing my first book, I started an MFA program, and I was working on it for several years after, and I told everyone. I mean, it helped, I think, that I was like 23 when I started. I was like really confident and young, and I was like, I'm writing a novel. And I just told everyone who asked what I did. You know, I had a job, but I like didn't really tell them about that usually, unless they were a person who would care about that job. And so I felt in a certain way, it's a little obsessive, but it kind of like held me accountable. Like I kind of backed myself into this corner where like I have now told this to the world, so I really better do it. I don't want to be someone who says something and then doesn't do it. You know, like I want to be true to my word. And so that got me, in a way, that kind of got me through. In a way, that testimonial that I am a novelist before I even was one really helped me become one.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it, totally.
I totally believe it.
It's like really sad that that's true, but I think it really is. So, and I see younger writers who are, you know, emerging now, and I see them like trying to publish as much as they can, as widely as they can, and feeling that excitement to kind of just like build themselves as a writer. You know, it's really admirable. It really is. But at a certain point, I don't know, for me, I don't have that little engine inside that's like going to be able to do that forever. Like I have to care about the work. Like I have to like think the work matters each day more than the publishing or the like getting people to read it or whatever. And I think at the end of the day, I have to be proud of the work that I've done. Like it has to be good to me and not just, you know, satisfy some external need to have like justified my time. You know, it has to be the time. It is the time. It is life. But I, you know, I was a really good student growing up. So I think, which meant I got good grades and I got to class on time and I did all the things I was supposed to. So in a way, my career as a writer has been kind of like becoming a bad student again, like getting rid of all that stuff I learned about regimentation and like approval and rule following in a way, in order to be someone who like is just living in the process. You know, I don't think we're taught to really live in the process as students. You know, we like study for the test and we take the test and then we move on to the next thing. And I was always interested in whatever we were learning. Usually, like there are some things I didn't like, but you know, pretty much everything in the, you know, English and history and science world was like usually pretty interesting. And so that was the muscle that I developed the best. And like, as it turned out, I needed to kind of like let go of that skill set as I became like actually a writer. I had to be able to make the thing that I used to like fill my spare time with, that was play, that was extracurricular really, that was like guilty pleasure. I had to make that the main thing. I had to feel comfortable claiming that like recreational side of myself as like actually myself and my work and what I'm doing.